Welcome to the LandLife podcast with your host, PJ Riley.
Hey guys, welcome to the LandLife podcast. Guys, before we get started, don't forget, like, subscribe, leave 5 stars. That is the only way I'm going to get world-class guests like Christopher Warrens. So today our guest is Christopher Warrens. He's the author of Dominate Your Day. Hold on, let me see here. I have it on audiobook. Look at that. Boom. If you're listening, I just showed a picture of the audiobook. Awesome book, guys. He's a founder of Warrior Consulting. This guy's just an all-around badass dude. Chris, you want to just tell us kind of like how you got started and kind of what led you to this point in life?
Yeah. Well, first things first, let's do the proper thing of saying thank you for inviting me to your show. I am grateful for the opportunity to be here. And all I hope I could do is offer perspective and help one person listening, right? And to be able to do that, it's really important that everybody listening stops what they're doing. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you're on podcast, one of the biggest things you guys could do is share it with your friends and leave a review for podcasters, because that's how we rank and our shows get out. So
I appreciate that, Christopher. That's awesome.
I'm just reinforcing it for you guys. I'm sure everybody that we're talking to today are awesome people, and I am excited to not only be here but talk about my journey, which has been you know what it comes down to. Like, this is what it comes down to. All right, so we'll start with where I am. Okay, so I'm in year 14 as an entrepreneur. Okay, and a lot of my friends, quote unquote, are in year 20 and year 25 and in year 30 and so on and so forth. And no matter what, we all talk about the journey being pretty much the same, which is you get your fucking dick kicked in, or respectfully, if I shouldn't say that, you get punched literally in the face, in the jaw, in the stomach. I mean, just this morning, right? I had to send a bank wire out, and I was on the phone with my bank for 42 minutes before the customer service rep even picked up the phone. I was in the wrong department. They sent me over to another department. After an hour, they get on. No one's primary language is English. They get on and then drop the call. The point is, like, shit. So can I cuss?
Absolutely.
Shit's always going to happen. And it's a Monday. I had to get a $25,000 wire sent out. I got someone waiting on it. It's 25 grand. So, like,
yeah,
people are like, where's my money? But shit like that's always going to happen. And initially I was like, fuck. And then within like 10 seconds, I was like, oh, well, I'll just go to the bank later. I got, a couple of interviews and got this to deal with, got that to deal with, but we'll get to it. And that's the point to the journey, right? My journey specifically has been rough, but it's also been great.
Yeah. The
hard parts have always been the best teachers, specifically of gratitude, right? I'm complaining about sending a $25,000 wire out. Like, is it really that bad? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not really that bad. It's like half of the average median income of what Americans make in a year. I'm sending out in a transaction. Is it really that bad? Like, I don't think I'm better than anyone. I'm just saying it's not really that bad.
Yeah.
Right. There's more important problems. And fundamentally, these tough situations just continue to grow with importance and weight as you grow in your journey. So, I mean, I can just dive right into the journey if you want.
Absolutely. You got a crazy story, and I want it to get out there as fast as humanly possible. Dude, there's a lot of guys that'll be watching this podcast too that are ex or current military guys. Guys that are kind of like in that world, they're like, all right, cool. I want to be sending out $25,000 transactions. How do I get from the position I'm in right now, which is, I've been digging ditches for the past 8 years, but I know I can do better. I want to be better. Show me how to get started. So your story, I think, is going to be a great place to start.
Yeah. So, you're right. And I'm going to do that. And before I do that, I'm going to say I was really, really excited yesterday because it was the first day of the month, which means I'm going to balance all of my numbers out for my companies for the month prior. Right. I'm super excited. Sunday, I'm crunching numbers at year 14 in the first month of quarter 2. I am a 691% increase from April of last year.
Wow.
It takes a decade to figure that shit out. It just, first things first, that's pretty serious numbers of growth, right? 252% from quarter 1, 2021, quarter 1 to quarter 1 of 2022. Okay. But in the beginning, I couldn't even put gas in my truck. But let's back up just a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Growing up, I'm from Guilford, Connecticut. I played football, I wrestled, and I played lacrosse. I was like full contact type athlete, right? And that's what I did. I played sports. I wasn't an academic. I failed high school, honestly. I've found out in the time since high school that the only reason why they gave me a 60 to pass, because I got a 59.5 in my senior year, is because I was enlisting into the military. I've been told this by teachers, by the principal, by my social worker from back then, personally, in a personal conversation, that because I was going to serve the country. And I graduated in 2003 from high school, which was right around the time that Iraq had just kicked off and the towers went down 2 years before that when we invaded Afghanistan under Operation Anaconda, I believe it was. But anyways, so the point is, I had a really rough childhood. My dad had cancer. He ended up dying when I got into the military. They pulled me out of Iraq because he died. Sent me home, buried him, right back to Iraq. But we'll get there. Like, my dad was sick. Like, we were poor because my dad lost his job. My mom had to work like 4 jobs a week. She would do 9 to 5 and then go straight to 6 to 12 a.m. Monday through Friday, come home, sleep for 6 hours, repeat, work on the weekends, 2 jobs, 4 jobs, 7 days a week for 20 years, just to keep the house over our head, just to keep food on the table. You've read my book. I dedicated my first book to my mother. I didn't know, but I was an athlete. My mom, I'd be like, Mom, I'm hungry. She would take food off her plate and give it to me and not have anything to eat. I mean, we were going to the church to pick up food. We were on food stamps. Like, I'm not trying to give you a sob story. I'm just saying growing up was rough. Then I got in the Army. Within 6 months, I was in combat, not just in Iraq. I signed up for the infantry. So if you don't know what that means that there's 217 jobs in the Army. 216 of those jobs, their job is to support the infantry. The infantry is fundamentally what people see in movies: battle, combat, machine guns, rifles, bombs, rockets, sometimes grenades. I never experienced hand-to-hand combat. I never put my hands on an enemy. However, I got close enough to look into their eyes. Wow. And within 6 months, I was there. And within the first 2 months, people were killed. Like, people I knew. I was like, whoa. The first time I went on a patrol, we got into a fight. And what that means is machine guns, rockets, bombs, people trying to kill you. The first time I went out into Baghdad. So I things were a little dicey.
Sounds like it.
Within 7 months, I had been blown up by IEDs 11 times, improvised explosive devices. That was the enemy combatants' primary way to kill Americans, which was put bombs in the road. So when you walk by them, they blow up, or when your truck drives over them, you blow up because there's no armor under the trucks. They figured that one out pretty quick. And June 16th, it's coming up, 2006, the 11th IED almost ended my life. Now, when I say this, I say it in the sense that my life was almost taken from me on dozens of occasions prior. Yeah. This one was the closest. I was basically supposed to be dead. I received what's called the Purple Heart, which is awarded to all soldiers who were killed in action, and a very small percentage of us that are still alive wear a Purple Heart. So every KIA, every killed in action, receives a Purple Heart. Very, very small percentage are still alive. I'm one of them. Yesterday, Rob O'Neill, the guy who killed bin Laden, was in New York with one of my friends, and my friends told Rob O'Neill about me. And Rob O'Neill got my friend on the phone and said, "Get down here. I want to meet you because you have a Purple Heart." This is a former Navy SEAL. This is, you know who Rob O'Neill is?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The guy that killed bin Laden 11 years ago yesterday requested me because of my Purple Heart.
Wow.
I had a schedule. So I said no.
Wow.
I said, listen, I promised people that I would be there for them today. I can't come. Yeah. But the point is, a Purple Heart carries that much weight. And I thought I was going to die. I really did. I gave up. It was one of the few times in my life that I ever gave up, if not the only time I ever gave up, because I thought that was it. After I woke up, we were out for approximately 5 to 10 minutes, blacked out. But we were all alive and we all made it. And that day is what changed my perspective on life. My perspective on life changed drastically to realizing that life's actually really awesome. I'm getting like welts up my arm right now. You know, life's actually really awesome because each day you wake up as another chance to just try, get better, push, take a fucking inch, a bloody inch every day. That's what I teach my students. 1 inch every day. Bloody. I have bloody fingernails, bloody knees. Just move forward. Yeah. You have the opportunity. And, you know, after a second tour in Iraq, I went back. I went back. I came home. I went back. This time I was in charge of a squad of infantrymen. Like, you know, I led patrols on foot downtown Baghdad at 23 years old. Wow. In charge, you know. Everyone came home. No one lost any limbs. Brought all my men home. Brought myself home. Got out of the army. At that time, Bush was getting destroyed because of, you know, the 2008 problems. Yeah. And prior to those problems, and Obama was coming, and I didn't want to serve for that type of leadership. Nothing against Obama. I think he's a fantastic speaker. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of things that he did, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to serve for a Democrat. No, I just didn't want to serve for that type of leadership, because the Democrats, specifically when they come in, they strip funding away from the military. It's like just what the left does. Yeah. I don't care. I'm just saying that's what they do. And I knew that. And I didn't want to keep going to war under that type of leadership. So I got out. And I started going to school. And as soon as I got out, I started going to school for exercise science and nutrition. And I got a job as a personal trainer. And I got really good at being a personal trainer really quick, because it was 2008. and the country was a mess, and people were looking for strong people to lead them. And my military style worked really well with getting people in shape. And you know, initially I got fired from my first personal training job. The manager wanted to sleep with me, and the manager was the owner's sister. And the manager made it really uncomfortable for me because I wouldn't sleep with her. And I went to the owner and told her, and I was fired the next day. So
wow.
Rather than
you don't hear that story very often.
I could have sued the shit out of them, but that's not the point, right?
Yeah.
I'm not that type of person. Like I'll work for my money, and I have worked for my money, and I've made a lot of it, but that's not the point. The point is I'm not that type of person. But what I did was I went to the gym that I worked out at as soon as I got fired. And I was working out and I was all pissed off. And then all of a sudden the owner of the gym comes over to me. He's like, "Hey, Chris, there's someone at the door for you." Huh? He's like, I was like, "Which one is it?" Because I was like, I was like 24. I was like dating all the girls, And he's like, "No, dude, it's one of your clients." And I was like, "Okay." So I went to the front door, and it was one of my clients that I had an appointment with from the other gym 30 miles away.
No kidding.
And she's like, "Chris, what the fuck?" And I was like, "I'm not working there anymore." She goes, "Yeah, I know. I need to be trained." And I'm like, and I look at the owner, and I was like, "Hey, can I?" He's like, "You're certified, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "Yeah, whatever. You can train her." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So
just like that,
dude.
No
just
way.
Bang. And I was like, "All right, guess I'm an independent personal trainer." And that was the beginning of CW. At the time, Chris Warrens is my name. At the time, I branded myself as CWFit. This was 2009, maybe 2010 timeframe. And I knew nothing about business. I knew nothing about myself. I knew I was angry. I knew nothing about much other than I was in fantastic shape. I keep myself in good shape, even at turning 37 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was 24. So I was like a little bit leaner,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No cheat meals, if you will. But anyways, I just fucking rolled the dice, man. And I started competing in the fitness industry. I competed in men's physique, which was a NPC division that came around in 2011. I was one of the first NPC men's physique competitors. I was one of the first fitness influencers on Instagram. I don't really post on Instagram really anymore. I think it's bullshit. But
don't put your rented Lambo out there.
And the thing is, like, I have nice cars, but I don't I don't pride myself on it. Like I used to, right? I used to, and I'm going to digress, but I care about different things now. Like I care that I was able to help my mom retire early. I care that my mom, I got her to sell her house, the same mom I'm telling you about from before, and I moved her in with me. I care that my top girl is buying her first house.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
Dude, I could run around in Rolls Royce Wraths and SVJ Lambos. How selfish would that be?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I have nice cars. I mean, I've had Porsches. The point is, like, I've forefronted the fitness community on Instagram in 2010. I don't care. I'm just saying that's what I was doing at that time. That's how I was building my brands. I don't care that I'm not recognized as, I don't give a shit. I care that that's how I started branding myself online. I started the online nutrition coaching model that everybody uses now. I don't care that I'm not recognized for it. I don't give a shit. I give a shit that my mom has a salary, retired early, has no bills. just a
That's
car
crazy.
payment. The only thing she's got is car payment now. I care that yesterday when Rob O'Neill requested to meet me, that my top girl, I promised her that I would look at an apartment that she has to rent for a year before she buys her house on a Sunday at 2:30. And I said I would be there. That's what I care about. She started crying when I told her the story. And I'm like, fuck, no, I told you I'd be here. You need me. I care about shit like that.
Absolutely.
But like, basically, I just, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue about money. I had no clue about business. And I would have an empty gas tank on E driving to the gym to hope that the client that I was meeting was going to rebuy packages of personal training so I could put gas in my tank, stop by the store to buy some food for my dog and I at the time, and have some food to eat that night. And there were some really low points and humble conversations that I had to have with members of the gym that weren't my client and be like, hey man, can I borrow $20 to put some gas in my tank?
Yeah.
And I'd be eating rice with like ketchup on it for my dog too at the time, like, because we didn't have any food. And that was my first couple years in business, and it really built after a while. I was competing in the fitness industry. I became the competition coach for fitness competitors in New England. I was a savage. Within 5 years, I was making $250,000 net, had a house, had a brand new car, had, high-end watches, traveled first class. By 8 years in, I achieved my lifelong dream. I bought a gym. I graduated grad school. I missed grad school graduation because I was running the gym and my nutrition company. Built a team, 20,000 square foot gym, built a team, built a couple more businesses, real estate, selling high-end timepieces, and built a podcast. And then my fifth business, which is Warrior Consulting. It's a business consulting firm at this point where I do coaching, but we also have a concierge service where we do web development, graphic design, photo shoots, photo editing, video editing, websites, SEO at this point, marketing. But I built my fifth company on a whim in 2020. Started collecting money for the first time as a coach, which I had been helping people my entire life with. And in the mix, I had to close my gym because of COVID. And I am in year 3 of building the consulting firm. And we're at that 691% growth, from April of 21 to April of 22. So it takes getting fucking the shit beaten out of you and just getting, and for lack of better words, just getting raped in life and in business to really appreciate the little things and the small things and realize that these lessons, like me not being able to send my wire because shitty fucking whatever, out of country customer service department in Malaysia or something, it's really not that bad. It's just like, fuck, all right, I gotta, rearrange my day a little bit. And that's why fundamentally, that's why I can't spend more time with you today.
Yeah. So I kind of want to unpack the story just a little bit.
Sure.
So that's a big story to unpack too. So we're gonna take it little by little, and we're gonna get to the point as quickly as possible. But so you were forced into a leadership position early on. I think a lot of new people need to understand leadership, and another thing that I notice about you is relationships. You don't get fired from a gym and then just show up to your next gym and they let you coach without building great relationships. How did you explain to somebody, help somebody who's new understand how to build such great relationships that start you from getting canned by a gym to not only taking a client to a different gym without any certifications, and then getting to the point you're at now? Because relationships are very important.
Yeah. Straight up, guys, entrepreneurs, men, women, all right? The biggest relationship you have to understand is with yourself. When I was broke and I was on gas tank, and empty on gas tank and shit, I didn't have a relationship with myself. I had no boundaries. I didn't understand my emotions. I had no emotional intelligence. I had no self-awareness. I had excellent external awareness because people were trying to kill me for the past 5 years, but no internal awareness. And I didn't have good relationships. My first girlfriend out of the Army, beautiful girl. We had a great relationship, or so I thought, until she just left one day in the middle of the night, gone. And come to find out, I was not in a good mental state, in the sense that I was angry. I didn't know anything about myself. I had no relationship with myself. Of course, someone's not going to stick around. Broke my heart. It was my first heartbreak, but that's not the point. The point is, the relationship to start with is understanding yourself, understanding your emotions, understanding your triggers, understanding that fundamentally, when it comes to relationships with other people, it has nothing to do with you. Nothing. Other relationships with other people is all about them and what you can give them and what you can help them with. I had a conversation with a student last week. We were having a bottle of wine and eating some raw bar. I think it was like $1,000 bill between the two of us, right? And I made a statement to him, and he didn't like it, which was, hey, 99% of people that I come across in my day-to-day, I can help. And he didn't like that. It's not a matter of what he did or didn't like. It's a matter of, I triggered an insecurity. And I understand that. But that's how I look at my life, to where I just want to help people. And if I can help them, I will. I don't think about taking. There's nothing that I want to take from this show or from PJ. I don't want to take anything. I just want to give. And that's why my opening statement was, I hope I can help one person with my perspective. And building the relationship with yourself, setting boundaries, not violating yourself. If a big one for me is my bedtime, I have to hold myself accountable to get into bed at 9:30 at night. It's so easy to not do it when you love what you do. It's like, okay, what next?
What else can we get done today?
What can we get done?
Yeah.
But you build it with yourself. And then once you have that relationship with yourself, you can build relationships with other people. And when you build relationships with other people, if you're in it purely selflessly to give, you'll have beautiful relationships as long as you don't expect anything in return. But if you know who you are, you know what you need. And if that person can't fulfill it in that relationship, like a romantic relationship, if they can't fulfill it, then they're just not the person for you.
Yeah.
In the business relationship, right? You're giving a service, the customer is giving you money. If the customer can't give you money, well, then you might not want to be giving your service. But there are, gray areas in there. One of my tenants, he gets laid off in the winter, and I know that. He works cement, dude.
That's real work.
He pours cement at 65 years old, and he's been doing it for over 30 years. He gets laid off in the winter. Listen, he comes to me and he says, "Hey, Chris, listen, man, can I make the rent up to you like in the spring and the summer?" "Yeah, man. No problem, bro. Got you." There's always going to be gray areas.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm in the financial position to where I can do that. But fundamentally, the point that we're getting at is, if there's something in the relationship that isn't fulfilling you that you need because you know yourself well enough, then you don't keep those relationships. But the first relationship you focus on is yourself. then you build the relationships with everyone else.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
That too much?
No, that's great. That makes a ton of sense. What about leadership? So I got a couple scenarios here in reference to leadership. First of all, the young guy. Like he's brand new, he's young. Let's say he didn't go to the military. You were pushed into a leadership position. You developed skills and you built yourself immediately. It was day one. You're the leader. I don't really care if you like it or not. What about the other guy? He didn't go to the military. He wants to be a leader. He wants to develop himself. We got that guy. What would you advise him? Then the other guy. He's 40 years old. He does have a business, or he's got a job where he's maybe a supervisor. He's not a good leader. He just wants to get better. What are those two guys? What would you offer to those two guys? I don't want to give away too many of your strategies, but what would you give to those two guys?
No, I want to give away all my strategies. I think that providing value, providing my perspective, because it's all perspective, right?
Yeah.
There's no real right or wrong. It's just perspective, but providing value and hopefully making an impact and helping people is what I'm here for in this life on this earth. My purpose is I'm a teacher. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to give it all away. And if people want more, okay, awesome. We'll talk about it. But the point that I'm getting at is it's the same answer for them both, believe it or not, in my perspective, right? So as a teacher, right, I teach my philosophy. I'm a young philosopher, but I'm a teacher. All philosophers are teachers. You've read my philosophy on life, my book, right? Dominate Your Day, a high performer's guide to winning at life. It's a system. It's a system, fundamentally what it is. And if you use that system, you'll kick the shit out of your day. And all of that system was built on making mistakes. The biggest lessons I've ever learned are each chapter. And it's a system, but that's not the point. To answer the question is it's the same answer for the young guy and the 40-year-old who are basically looking for themselves. And I'm bringing it full circle because it comes down to internal awareness. It comes down to emotional intelligence and awareness of who you are, your strong points and your weaknesses. And both people in this case are looking for some leadership, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The best thing I can say to do is really simple. Understand yourself first. Understand who you are. The topic to Google is self-awareness. The topic to Google is emotional intelligence. Understand yourself fundamentally, like you said before the call, right? You talk to people and you know they're lying to you, right? They're just pitching you some bullshit. Leadership's the same way. You can't just say, I'm the leader. No, you got to lead yourself and you have to be chosen. This is midterm election year. I was reached out to take a seat in the House of Representatives in the state of Connecticut. I was chosen by my community to lead my community. I ended up turning it down. But the point is, I have too many things going on. But the point is, for politics will be in my 40s. So I have to do a few things first, like write some more books. But what I'm getting at is lead yourself first, then start with the small unit, like the home unit, maybe the cat, maybe the dog, maybe the girlfriend or the boyfriend or the husband, the wife, and the kids. Start with the home unit after you're comfortable leading yourself. And then when you lead your home unit, then you can start leading other people, whether it's a business, whether it's an online community, whether it's a local community, a mastermind, a network, anything, a business, clients. And in hindsight, as I was transitioning out of military leadership to civilian leadership, I was using the wrong leadership from military to civilian when it came to employing people specifically. I still have my first employee. He's still with me.
The first employee, you still have him. He's still working with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've probably employed 500 people. But I made a lot of mistakes. And the point that I'm getting at is you got to start with leading yourself, no matter if you're 20 or you're 40. And I could tell you, before I was shoved into leadership, I didn't know I was a leader. I didn't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I went in my own direction. I didn't want to follow the crowd. I didn't think it was cool to hang around the cool people. I wanted to do my own thing. And in hindsight, with an exuberant amount of self-awareness, I was a leader. I just couldn't lead.
Yeah. Wow. So I kind of want to shift gears a little bit. I mean, we got to talk about the book. We have to talk about the book. I just finished it up. Guys, I would highly recommend you buy this book, get it on Audible, get it a physical copy, do both. It's a great book on leadership, how to live a better life, how to be successful. And it just it's all encompassing. It kind of like gives you every aspect of life. So what motivated you to write this thing? I mean, you were saying earlier, you don't make a ton of money on books. What made you want to go out there and write a book? I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna let you answer it.
Yeah. If you're a self-published author like myself, you're gonna spend more money. And if you want to include time into that, you're gonna spend way more than you'll ever make. I mean, you make like $5, maybe $10 a book, like net. I mean, so it's not a money thing. It never was a money thing. I didn't write the book to make money. Excuse me. But I started writing in 2019. And you asked me why I wrote the book or when?
Yeah. What made you want to write a book? You're already doing all these things.
Yeah.
What made you because a book's it's not a short term, it's not a short deal. You need to really put yourself into it.
Yeah, you know what it is. Like, remember I was talking about how everyone would come to me and I was coaching them before I ever took money from people, like my staff, my friends. For over a decade in business, I never took anybody's money to coach them or mentor them, but I was asked all the time, so I would just give them my time. And then I built a podcast. I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to help more people in a time conducive manner. So I built a podcast. And that was in 2018. In 2019, I was like, I should write about some shit. Like, I'm considered highly successful. I made excellent money. I employed 60 people. I have, at that time, 4 companies. I could fly wherever I want, whenever I want. I mean, in the regards of society, I was successful. I was starting to speak on circuits. And it was right before COVID. But anyways, I was starting to speak on circuits. Like, people were asking me to speak on topics like leadership and customer service and culture. And I was like, wow, I should write a book. So I started writing a book in 2019, and I had no clue what I was doing. And I got like 30 pages in and I fucking scrapped it and started over. And when 2020 happens, I launched a group program to start Warrior Consulting. And the group program was called Dominate Your Day. And I took in like 12, I think, or 14 people from my audience and taught them the material in the book. And within the 12-week course, their lives were changing.
Yeah.
One guy hadn't slept with his wife in like 6 years. She's pregnant. One guy got a $50,000 raise. Another one manifested like 10 grand. Like, it was just I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. So since at the same time, the state of Connecticut made all gyms close down for months, I had all this time. So I was like, you know what? This program is fire. I'm going to write it into a book. And here we are.
I think that's the best coaches, the best books in the world are especially the best coaching. It's, you don't necessarily go out there to be a coach. People come to you and ask you all these questions. And you start to get to where you're like, I have so much stuff I want to give to people. How do I do it at a mass scale? Right. How do I give everybody all this information that I've learned that I don't want to waste on just myself or maybe the people around me? There's a lot of people that need to hear this. Yeah. So I want to talk to maybe a couple of specifics in the book. I would recommend people get the book. Don't just skip it, but definitely buy the book. Chapter 3, morning routine. I thought that was really interesting, and that's a really good start to people's day. But it's very important to have a solid morning, a solid start to your day. Like maybe talk about that just a little bit to give them kind of a teaser for this for the book too, because I mean that's a great chapter right there, man. That thing just alone could be its own book.
It can, and it will be.
Okay.
That observation that you just made is probably the most redundant one that I hear. And that chapter was built because of my anger issues and my trauma from war, my PTSD, which resulted in anger issues, my traumatic brain injuries from my brain bouncing off my skull 13 times while I was in Iraq, recorded. That's just what's recorded. Yeah. Right. So I had like this like demon within me, and the department of the VA was like, here are some pills. And I was like, whoa, no. So I started researching how to heal PTSD, and everything pointed to meditation. This is like 10 years ago or something like that, like 8 years ago. So I was like, all right, I'll try it. I tried half-assedly for a while. And a couple of years go by and I started getting good at it. And then I started adding in other things to my morning routine to fundamentally heal my trauma. And that morning routine is developed to heal ourselves from whatever the trauma is. PTSD isn't just military veterans. You could have it from anything. And a lot of people fucking have it. A lot of women have it. They've been raped. Like, I've dealt with women, like they come to me and they're like, Chris, I was raped. And I'm like, God damn it, I want to fucking strangle these guys. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But trauma. So I wanted to heal myself. I wanted to change myself. I didn't like who I was, and I got uncomfortable. And I started developing this highly crafted morning routine, because I found that if I took care of my mind and my heart and my soul when I woke up, I filled my glass up for the day and then poured from the glass to everybody else in my life, my clients, my students, my team, my customers, my audience. Yeah. And every morning, let's just say in the past 5 years, I can still count on one hand how many times I've not done my morning routine. And it's because I was like deathly ill. I was like, I can't do anything. But the point is, that's why I did it. And now that I've been teaching that chapter for into my third year formally, and prior to that, I don't know, like 5 years or something, fucking changes people's lives, man. And like when I get that feedback from people from that chapter specifically, I know I did something meaningful. And I had to learn it on myself. Like I said, each chapter was the biggest mistake that I ever made in my life. And the biggest mistake I ever made in my life was not understand who I am and allow the trauma to control me rather than controlling the trauma. Here I am, it's like 16 years since I was wounded in combat coming up next month. And I'm like 98.5% healed, dude. Nice. And it's just like, I'm just so grateful. So that's how the morning routine chapter came around. And if you're open-minded and you're looking for answers, guys, it's powerful. Do you have a morning routine?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Every single day, it's the same thing. I mean, and it's what you just did, water, that's a big part of it. I think everybody should have a morning routine. And one of the main things that I personally focus on is keeping negativity out of my mind to start the day. Yep. No cell phone, right? Nothing. Yeah, you got to get rid of that. And the thing is, set a time. Right. And you're the business guy, right? You have to run a business. There's going to be stuff on there I gotta address. Do it later. So give yourself a set time where you'll deal with that later. First, if you're like Chris, and you want to give to other people, you need to build yourself first, right? What do they say on the airplane? You gotta, you put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can put it on everybody else, right? So you got to build yourself first. You got to wake up. You got to get water in your body, get the right supplements, the right mental preparation, whether it be reading, I just tell myself every day, I'm not kidding. I say, this is going to be the best day ever. I'm going to fucking dominate this day. And I'm not kidding. I tell myself that every single day.
You're positively affirming it.
Absolutely. And no matter what happens 30, 40 minutes down the road, I'm running into it like a Mack truck. I'm not like slowly falling into this. I'm not letting the day control me. So I think morning routine is so important. And I obviously, I go to the gym and, work out and then deal with things after that.
Right on.
But yeah, that's huge. Morning routine is absolutely powerful.
There's no one best morning routine, guys. Like, play around with stuff, see what's best for you. You don't have, like, I do gratitude journaling, but if you believe in God, like, you can pray. One isn't better than the other. Like, maybe you're not into laying down and meditating. Maybe you like to go for a walk and be mindful of your thoughts. You're doing a moving meditation. There's no one best morning routine, but it all starts with your evening routine. So that's
okay. He's leaving us on a cliffhanger there. That's for part 2, guys.
Apparently, I'm one of the few people to ever write about an evening routine. Apparently, I'm like, really? People don't know about this?
Wow. Yeah. I know you got to take off and meet. You got to get going. You got a busy day still ahead of you, and you've already knocked out a full day already. So, anything else you want to say before we take off?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you, to get to know you more and your audience, guys. If there's anything I can ever do for you, you just let me know. I'm happy. I communicate with 95% of people that reach out to me. Sometimes my team has to handle some communication, but I'm accessible. I want to help people purely. I don't want, there's nothing in it for me. What's in it for me is when you order the book and you're like, Chris, holy shit, my life is a million times better. That's what I'm in it for. You know what I mean? Yes. But fundamentally, the point is, thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me. If you guys are interested in what I have to write, you just go on Amazon, punch in Dominate Your Day. It'll pop right up. Or you go to my website, chriswarrens.com, and you can select a hand-signed copy if you want. And then, I'm on all the socials, Instagrams at Chris Warrens _OG. And on Facebook, I'm Christopher Warrens. You'll find all my shows and other channels and handles from there. So I just wanted to say thank you for your time, guys, and investing in yourself by listening to someone else's story. I hope I helped one person. And PJ, dude, thank you for hooking it up, man.
Yeah, Chris, you're an awesome guy, man. You got a lot of stuff to tell people. Guys, that's probably the easiest podcast I've ever done. You got so much stuff to give. I didn't have to do much. So that was awesome, man. Guys, buy the book, Dominate Your Day. Get it now. Learn it. I mean, get it on Audible too. I listened to it on Audible. It was awesome. Go on. Anyway, so Chris, big question I asked everybody at the end of the podcast. This is it. This is the big one. We can't mess this up.
Yep.
If you could buy land anywhere in the entire world, where would it be and why?
Montana.
Okay.
Not because of the price point, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I personally, selfishly, want a plot of land that's extravagant, so I could have a runway, so I can be self-sustaining, water, food, crops, animals, retreat for veterans with PTSD, a safe place for people, secure. I want my own community, and I want it in Montana.
That's awesome. You're not the first guy to say Montana, especially guys in Arate, our group that we're in together. A lot of guys are saying Montana right now. So
it's like we know.
Yeah, we're all prepared for something,
We know what's coming.
Yeah, right. I think Montana's as far away as we can get, except for maybe Alaska. We could do that too. Right on, Chris,
It
dude.
was
I really
awesome.
appreciate you, man. That was awesome. You got a ton of
course.
stuff to help to give people, and I think it's going to help a lot of people out. So, dude, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, if you ever want to do round 2, you let me know, and I'll have you
Absolutely.
on my show as well. Okay.
I would love to do that. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, brother.